Hi everyone. I know what you're probably thinking. What a mess. That's because it is. This is the horrible aftermath of me getting ready yesterday for Halloween, and also I haven't cleaned up yet. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to show you what the products were that I used, or most of them, and just kind of explain it to you, and then I will put some pictures of how it turned out along with this video, I think, if I can, maybe like at the end or something. And if for some reason I can't figure out how to do that because my iMovie is always acting up, then I might just do them in the next video. So, of course, I'm not going to show you my entire face, but I will show you all the different gory parts. So, the first thing is, this was my inspiration that I was looking at when I got ready, and I did choose to do more of a black eye, but I did use a lot of red as well. I did the opposite of what I told you guys I was going to do, but I did leave out, like, I didn't get red close to my eye. I had some red, like, up here and some over here and over here, but not anywhere near my eye. And then I did my best to do something very similar to this. I had more staples, which you can see. I know that looks gross. That's because we got home. Oh, and excuse my dirty sink. Oh, this is just a mess. You guys probably won't even watch this. This is when we got home. It was like really late. It was already like 3 or something. And I had to very quickly take off all of my makeup to be able to get in bed. I was exhausted. So what you see here is a big bloody mess of all these staples and stitches that I pulled out. And to make the stitches, they look like this. I saw in another YouTube video where someone knotted a bunch of pieces of thread and just cut that for stitches, and that's what I did. And then I also had this bit here and here and here. Okay, so of all these products that you see, most of these I've talked about individually at some point. I didn't use all of these, but I did use most of them. So I just put on like my makeup. How should I say this? I put on all the stuff to my skin like I normally do, like my toner and lotion, blah blah blah. And then I put on the same face powder that I usually wear, except I also bought, where is it? I didn't want to mess up my good one, so I have the reason I have so many is, this one's the one I used, but this one's an old version of what I use now, so I thought if I had to, I could use that to cover stuff, like the wax, because I didn't want to mess up my good one, if that makes sense. I had a darker Makeup Forever that's too dark for me, that almost is like too orange, but I use it when I'm doing costume type stuff, because otherwise I just look dirty if I wear that as bronzer or like contour or anything. So I did use over the top to look just a little bit darker, because as you can see, I'm pretty pale, and I was trying to go for this Chucky, so I used this LA Colors, super cheap. It was like at my grocery store, and I think it cost like $1. So I got that. I also got at my grocery store, I didn't end up using this. This is not from the grocery store. This is from years past, so I didn't use that. I had some of these things left over. I worked at a wedding a couple weeks ago, and these were some of the things I used. I wasn't sure if I was going to put any like pale, this isn't very colorful, it's just nude lip stuff, but I didn't end up using any of that except for the Blistex, but it's just good to have it all here in case. Oh yeah, but from my grocery store, I bought this. It's just a cheap, like smooth, like one of those auto adjust eyeliners in black. I don't wear black eyeliner or mascara, but for this particular thing, I wanted to have it, so I bought this. And also, I've used some of my other stuff that's black when I was at the wedding, and I threw it out. So I needed this. This was cheap. I think this was also $1. It's just good to have. And then a black mascara that was actually pretty decent. Like, if it had come in my color, I'll have to check the next time, and I might actually buy this because typically I use a CoverGirl one, no, Maybelline one, and they've quit making my color, so I really like the wand that was on this one, but this is in black. This was also very cheap. This was like $1. So I did all my face stuff. I used this brush and 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 some of these face powders over there, and I started out with it pretty organized. I usually put like face stuff in one area, so like concealers, powders, blush, anything like that in one spot, and then eyeliner stuff in one spot, or eye stuff in one spot, and then special effects stuff. So it was all nice and organized, but as I worked more and more, we were running late, so it kind of went out the window. So I did all that. I did all my face stuff first. Then I chose to keep this eye kind of pretty. I did my eyebrows sort of like a ruddy orangey color. It's somewhere over. Oh yeah, I used the Hoola bronzer and like one other color, because Chucky, you can't see in this picture, but he has some kind of reddish eyebrows. And then I made the plain eye of like just a smoky, pretty eye with not much on it, and just eyeliner and mascara. And the other one, I told you guys what I did to that, and to do what I did, which you'll see at the end of this video, I used several things. I used this, which this is a pigment. It's a very strong, bright pigment from Makeup Forever, and you barely need any of it because it's so bright, and you can use it for a lot of things. This is my wig cap that I had on, but it's just kind of laying over here, so I'll put it back. I used that from Makeup Forever. I used this, which is coagulated blood gel from Mayron, which I need to clean because I got some blood on the jar and also on the sink. I apologize for my disgusting sink. I know, I need to clean it. But this is what the, I can't believe I'm showing you my toothpaste. I'm really sorry. This is what the blood gel looks like. It got in the sink and it's coagulated, so there you go. If you're interested or you want to buy that product. So right now we're just talking about the eyes. I also used some of this from Mayron. It's a face paint. I did not use this eyeliner pencil. And then I did use the a little bit of this black and some of this red on a little brush, which is probably ruined, that I'll probably have to throw away. This is a brush I have from and it's a good one. It's from OCC Cosmetics, Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics. It still has the stitches on it and everything. Whoops, I don't think that's gonna come out. Okay, what else? I used a little bit of this, which is also very dirty, fake blood gel that I had. So that was it on the eyes. And then I think I did also use a little bit of a plain black eyeshadow that's in there. That was that eye. Then for the wounds and everything, I used Biograph-Tobian. I used their modeling wax. I used this little palette knife and palette that I bought on Amazon for really cheap. I did not end up using my rigid collodion, which has scarring. It looks like scars because we ran out of time. But I did use the Mehron Fixative A, which is a prosthetic sealer. I found that it was extremely sticky, the modeling wax, and I knew about that in other people's videos that I've seen, and because of that, I had, lotion I was going to use to roll the wax in my hands. I had makeup remover to put on my fingertips and on the spatula and on a Q-tip. So I did everything that I found online that I've been reading about for a few weeks to do to prevent it from being super sticky, and I kind of practiced with it the other day too, and nothing I did at all helped to not make it super sticky. The best advice I could give you would be don't roll it around in your hands very long because it gets warm and then it turns into basically like if you got chewing gum stuck to your fingers and you're trying to get it off. It was like that. So I just use lots of makeup remover on my fingertips, and I just try to work with it really fast, and then it kept getting stuck to the spatula. So it potentially could have turned out pretty messy, but somehow I managed to make it work, and it worked out fine. So if you choose to use that, it'll work out fine for you too. Just make sure you read about what types of things to do if it all goes wrong, because I think that helped me a little bit. And I also used this. This is Spirit Gum. I've had it for a while. And what you do is you just put some Spirit Gum on your face where you want the wounds and things to be, and you tap on it until it's tacky and sticky, and then you roll your wax, you apply your wax in the shape you want it, you smooth it out, and when you get it how you want it, you cut it open. You can use the back of something sharp like this, or I have this little knife which is dirty, so I won't pick it up, but it's sharp and you can cut it open. I also made a little spot for where the stitches and staples would go, and for the staples I dipped the ends of them with tweezers. I dipped them in the Spirit Gum to help adhere them to my face so they didn't fall off. The stitches, I didn't really have to do that because my face was so sticky by then that they weren't going anywhere. But so anyway, you make the shape that you want, you cut it open. You really should let it dry. I didn't have that much time to let it dry, so once I had my wounds all on how I wanted them, then I use a hairdryer to use it on a cold setting for a while on my face just to dry it a little bit. Then I applied the Fixative A all over them, a couple coats. It says just to use one, but I found that it wasn't sealing it like I wanted, so I used several coats and that seemed to work. But be careful because it's really strong and it smells really, really strong. It's like a super alcohol smell. So you'll have to hold your breath. And, oh yeah, let me backtrack. On the pretty eye, I use these Ardell individual lashes. I really like the individual ones because you can build them up or put them in areas that you have sparse eyelashes or whatever. So I use that. I use that white eyeliner pencil on the bottom of my eyes to make them look a little more open. What else can I tell you? Oh yeah, so the wounds. Okay, once I had the shape that I wanted and I had let them dry and I put the fixative on, blah, 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 then I started on the color. So I used this brush, which I'm very afraid to look too close at it because it might have wax. You should use brushes that you're not afraid of getting messed up, because between the red color and the wax, that's got the potential to ruin it. And now I'm going to spend most of my day probably cleaning these brushes, so I really hope I didn't mess it up. That was dumb of me to use that because I really like that brush. Wow, guys, so I totally just recorded like 10 more minutes of me talking without even noticing that the camera had stopped. I must have run out of space. I'm very sorry. I was pointing to here, so I imagine that I was still talking about wounds. So if I repeat anything, I'm really sorry. I can't remember what all I've said, so I'll try my best. Once you have the shape and everything that you want, and you've cut it, you've sealed it, you've let it dry, etc., then I used the Makeup Forever on this powder very lightly on this brush and just loosely worked it around all of the wounds and over the top and dusted it very, very lightly, so not to get a bunch of wax in the brush, to create like an irritated look or redness around all the wounds. Don't use brushes that you really care about like I did. I was dumb to do that. I wasn't thinking, because what'll happen to them is this. I have all these brushes from years past which are red, because you can't ever really get all the red back out, or maybe you can, but I've tried really hard with all these cleaners that I have and nothing really works, and especially wax is like the hardest thing ever to get out. So be careful. So I did that, and then I used so I have these wound and zombie kit that I had gotten at like Walmart, and I just combined them. They have a lot of the same colors. It's very windy outside, by the way, so you can hear my fence moving around. I apologize. I also very scatterbrained, excuse me, was saying that I used these individual Ardell lashes on the pretty eye, some of that pink blush from Ulta, white eyeliner to make my eye look a little wider, and then for the ugly eye, I used just straight up black from here, a little bit from here, and then I used some red. I used this little brush here to sort of wing it out and make it into a shape to look hollow. Didn't know really how it was going to turn out or what I was going to do, but it looked all right, I thought. And then I filled, oh, that's right, this. I used these sponges, which it's probably good that I have a redo now, because it's pretty gross what's on the other side of those sponges. There's a lot of loose wax that came off. I used them to stipple on 3 colors. So the first color was this dark red. I stippled it on with that sponge very lightly. I used this dark purple color, a tiny bit of black, and this green color, and sort of stippled it all around the wounds and just patted it and made sure they were blended in. I used a little bit more of that, very lightly, that red, again, to mix it, and then I used the Mehron face paint on this little brush again, which I've ruined, to make like a dark red inside of the cut. Then I filled them with this Mehron coagulated blood gel. I would not recommend using the brush that's inside of here, because even though it coagulates very well, this is a really good product. If you ever want to buy it, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It doesn't really drip the same way that fake blood does. So if you're wanting something that's going to run, you're either going to have to use a lot of this and let it run down your face. But the problem with the brush is it's super big and wide. It's short though, so it's really hard to get into like a specific area. So I used the a little brush to do that, and I put it all inside the wounds and a little bit down, dripping a little from the wound. Excuse me. And then because I did want it to drip in places, I used my fake blood, which is super dirty. Same brush, and let it drip down my nose and drip down through the wounds, and that looked really good. Then the last thing I needed to do was put in my stitches and my staples. These are from a staple gun I have at the house. I just cut them to be short. I used like those tool pliers that have the cutter on the side, and they fit in perfectly to the hole that's on that, so they cut them the perfect size. So they're really short, and I used the tweezers to put them in where I wanted them. I used a little bit of that spirit gum on these staples. I dipped each one in that spirit gum with the